I'll finish with a Bible story, post-Easter story. It's a wonderful story from Luke's Gospel. The Emmaus disciples are walking home. Their world has come to an end. The text says, they're interrupted. They're having a conversation. This intimate stranger comes up to them, interrupts the conversation, says, "What were you talking about? What were you guys talking about here?" And they said, "Well, are you the only one who doesn't know? Our hopes were just dashed, our dreams. We thought he was the one," quote unquote. We thought he was the one. And they crucified him. You know what they're doing? They're into this discourse of despair. They're into it deep. And this intimate stranger, and remember, this is the same, this is the same guy that has scars on his wrists and in his feet. I mean, this guy is not a rosy-eyed optimist. He's been through it, and he said, "Well, didn't you?" He interrupts their discourse of despair with a narrative of hope, and he said, "Didn't you know this was all necessary? This is all necessary." And by that, I don't mean that the risen Christ was saying to them, this was, God planned it this way. I think how I interpret that necessity is that even the terror and the violence of the crucifixion was necessary in order for us as a species and you as my disciples to take your next best step. There was a sense in which this had to happen for you to open up. And so then he feeds them some fish. They persuade him to stay overnight. He makes breakfast for them, interesting, and feeds them, nourishes them. And then he disappears, and they get back together and say to themselves, didn't not our hearts burn when this guy was talking to us? Didn't they burn? And I think to be the presence, as we are as a church, of the living Christ is to feel that burning, that hope, that it's not over. In another one of the Easter stories, the angels meet the disciples and said, "What are you doing looking in a tomb for the risen Christ? He's gone ahead of you to Galilee." Galilee is the place where we'll meet the Christ. It's the future. It's the beckoning from the future to take our next best step despite all odds. He's in Galilee. The living Christ is just one step ahead of us. Go to Galilee. Sure, we face the crucifixion, we face the violence, we face our foolishness. But the risen Christ is not down and out. He's gone ahead of us to Galilee. So friends, I invite us as a church and as individuals to consider what it would mean to be, not just proclaim a message of hope, but to be the very presence of hope. So when people come to church, we are the body of Christ, I want them to leave, don't you, saying what the disciples said. Didn't our hearts burn when we were with these people with hope? May it be so.